Hello and welcome to another audio analysis. In today's video we're taking a look at the track Evil by the post-punk revival band Interpol. This was the second single to release from their 2004 album Antics, which was also their second, and certainly holds a very iconic music video to this track. It does feature a marionette puppet which fans would dub to be called Norman, and it became a whole story and there was a lot of interest around his whereabouts in the years following the release of this video. The actual song itself though touches on Fred and Rosemary West, who actually murdered 9 women including Fred's daughter, and the song details the mindset of a monster. It really looks at a lot of different things revolving around that idea and almost reads as a conversation between the two from mainly Fred's perspective, talking about the ideas of messed up arrogance and the pull of evil as well, that really showed the band's darker side of indie around the time of its release, when most other bands were touching on things that were certainly much more light-hearted. So will this track be holier than light or more evil than the devil? Let's take a look at exactly how it sounds.
Rosemary, heaven restores you in life. You're coming with me through the aging, the fearing, the strife. It's the smiling on the package, it's the faces in the sand, it's the thought that moves you upwards, embracing me with 2 hands. Right, we'll take you places, yeah, maybe to the beach. When your friends, they do come crying, tell them now your pleasure's set upon slow release.
Starting with the opening of this track, I do love how we get this slinking bass that really starts to build this more ominous atmosphere. It's really tied in with the music video, which, because you've got to admit, Norman is a little bit creepy, certainly in some ways, very unnerving, and that's what they wanted to really capture with this music video and certainly with the song as well. And you can already see from that opening line, it kicks in straight away from Fred's perspective, Rosemary, heaven restores you in life, and it kind of gets into the mindset of a killer, someone that's really done dark things but feels like they're going to be forgiven for the sins or forgiven for their actions when they ascend to heaven. Heaven restores you in life. The idea you're coming with me as well, so we're both going to heaven despite the things that we have done. And this tied together is something that we do see reflected quite heavily throughout the track, through the aging, the fearing, the strife. So this thing that we're going to grow up together, even though Fred actually committed suicide prior to his trial, and throughout the whole thing, Rosemary actually denied any involvement and went through trials and has remained incarcerated, I think even still to this day. So you can really see that coming through. You also get a couple of other interesting things that really touch on the idea of having a moral compass. Right will take you places, yeah, maybe to the beach. So typically a place that you assume to be quite positive, quite nice, very visual. So really touching on the idea, if you do good things, you get to a good place almost. And we really do see that kind of continue, and it will continue to develop throughout the track. And with the pre-chorus, we also get to see this kind of messed up mind of a killer. Hey, wait, great smile, sensitive to fate, not denial. Almost like the idea of him smiling before he chose to take his own life. Meanwhile, Rosemary, who's on trial, so she kind of went through that whole process, and you'd see that really reflected in the lyrics.
It took a lifespan with no cellmate, a long way back. Sandy, why can't we look the other way? We speaks about travel, yeah, we think about the land. We smart like all people's feeling real tan. I could take you places, but you need a new man. Wipe the pollen from the faces, make revision to a dream while you wait in the van. Great smile, sense that you can fake night. But hey, who's on trial?
And with the second verse, I love how we see this switch in perspective. He speaks about travel, yeah, we think about land. So again, this idea of the two being bonded together, we're doing it from Rosemary's perspective. We smart like all peoples. It's not even a cohesive lyric, but it's beautiful how it touches on the idea of actually not being particularly smart, getting caught with the things that they'd gotten away with, feeling real tan. So this idea again of being on the beach, being almost set free. I could take you places, do you need a new man? So we see this perspective switch even just mid-verse to the idea of wipe the pollen from the faces, make revision to a dream while you wait in the van. The idea that kind of she's created these different ideologies as she's been on trial to really just alter the actual course of events by kind of changing these dreams that she's had, making revision to her story.
It took a lifespan with no cellmate, quite a long way back. Sandy, why can't we look the other way? You're weightless, you are exotic, you need something for which to care. Sandy, why can't we look the other way? Leave some shards under the belly, lay some grease inside my hand. It's a sentimental jury and the makings of a good plan. You've come to love me lightly, yeah, you come to hold me tight. Is this motion everlasting or do shadows pass in the night? Rosemary, all heaven restores you in life.
I really do like how we see this development throughout this track. We start to see a lot more questioning attitude really being brought through as the track does progress, as Fred does begin to question the commitment of Rosemary to him and to the actions that they actually kind of undertook. And through verse 3 we start to see this trial really come to fruition. The idea of lay some grease inside my hand, almost bribery, things like that. It's a sentimental jury, again showing these ideas of just idiocracy, really the idea that kind of they're going to let Rosemary off because they're sentimental to the actions that she's done. You've come to love me like, yeah, you come to hold me tight. Is this motion everlasting? So motion being a court term as well, or does shudders pass in the night? So you see that Fred begins to question her actions, her motives, and we do get this great questioning attitude. Also the franticness from Paul Banks's vocal delivery as well, almost like the mind is working at 1,000,000 miles an hour and these lines are just being spewed out either into a letter or just almost into a wall while he's in his solitude, almost in his cell. So you can really see that coming through the actual music, through the vocal delivery. And I also love how in the chorus we see this reflection of this loneliness almost. It took a lifespan with no cellmate by the long way back. So whilst he effectively thinks he reached heaven very quickly by taking his own life, she kind of took this long lifespan with no cellmate, this lifetime, to really just kind of eventually get to the same angle where they are eventually reunited.
I spent a lifespan with no cellmate, a long way back. Sandy, why can't we look the other way? You're weightless, semi-erotic, you need someone to take you there. Sandy, why can't we look the other way? Why can't we just play the other game? Why can't we just look the other way?
Yes, it certainly was quite a creepy little music video that was released around the time featuring Norman the puppet. And really just you can see some of these elements that really helped add to this dark atmosphere we've got from the music video through the very slinky bass line and Paul Banks's vocal delivery as well. I love how they really add this maniacal mind almost, kind of try and give it a perspective throughout the course of the track by really kind of trying to convey what Fred would have been thinking after they'd been arrested, after the actions that they did commit. And I think he pulled that off very, very well. Certainly the band kind of give this song not too much of a dark energy where it's completely down tempo. That's not the sound and style that they play to, but they still were able to kind of give it that seriousness that it needed to really make it an effective track that could be listenable to many different fans, but also still had these darker meanings without just really switching people off and causing them to be very disengaged. And really covers a very important topic as well, really looking through the idea of how we're drawn to evil. If you look at things like documentaries about mass murderers, we're always drawn to watching them. We always want to invest in their story, what went through their mind. It's something that humanity naturally picks at. They're naturally drawn towards evil, even though they don't always commit it themselves. And that's something this track really touched on as well, through some just clever lyrics that were really intertwined into the song throughout. So that'll be everything for today's video, but as always, feel free to let me know your thoughts about this track in the comments section below if you've not heard it before. Either or check out some of Interpol's other work. They've got some great albums that they've been releasing over the years, despite always being a bit more of an underground band, kind of remaining to that indie scene. They've got some great albums that are definitely worth checking out. And as always, if you'd like to see more content like this, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next Audio Analysis.